Hello everyone, Pharmaville welcomes you all busy people to yet another learning video. In this video, we are going to learn that how to perform analytical method validation for identification test. Generally, identification test is performed either by HPLC or by IR or sometimes by chemical tests. So here you can see the example on the screen. This is a COA of drug substance, and here you will notice that after description test, identification tests has been performed by HPLC and by IR. So in today's video, we will learn that how to perform analytical method validation of identification test by IR. And in the next video, we will learn that how to perform analytical method validation for identification test by HPLC. So without any further delay, let's get started. Well friends, as per ICSQ2R1 guideline, there are 4 tests are mentioned which need to be validated, and those are identification test, quantitative test for the impurities content, that is nothing but the related substances test, limit test for the control of the impurities, and quantitative test for the active moiety in the samples, that is nothing but the assay test. So these are the 4 tests which are considered for the analytical method validation as per ICSQ2R1 guideline. There are 8 analytical method validation parameters as per ICSQ2R1 guideline, and those are accuracy, precision, specificity, detection limit, quantitation limit, linearity, range, and robustness. So these are the 8 analytical method validation parameters as per ICSQ2R1 guideline. Now there is a trick to remember all these parameters. If you want to know about the trick, then you can check the link given in the description. So let us see what are the parameters which we need to execute during the analytical method validation of identification test as per ICSQ2R1 guideline. Here you can see this table given in the ICSQ2R1 guideline. As per this table, only specificity parameter is required during the identification test analytical method validation. So from this table, it is clear that we have to perform one validation parameter for the identification test by IR, and that parameter is specificity. But note down one important point, that pharma industry along with the specificity execute 2 more parameters, and those are repeatability and reproducibility. Now let us see all these parameters one by one, that how they are executed and what are their acceptance criteria. Repeatability. Repeatability of the test method is evaluated by preparing standard and test sample in triplicate. Then the standard and the triplicate test samples are analyzed as per IR test procedure. Now the spectrum obtained from the test sample should matches with the standard spectrum. Then only repeatability test will be considered passed. So this was all about the repeatability test. Now let us discuss about the reproducibility test. Reproducibility. This parameter is performed to demonstrate the ruggedness of the method, and it is conducted by the 2 analysts, where 2 different analysts are used to perform the IR test in triplicate on different days. And just like the repeatability test, sample spectrum should match with the standard spectrum for all the preparations. Then only reproducibility test will be considered as pass. Specificity. Specificity parameter is performed to check the interference of the placebo with the active ingredient. To execute the specificity parameter, duplicate samples are prepared. Now the question arises that how the samples are prepared. So answer to the question is, samples are prepared by taking the placebo weight equivalent to the amount present in the sample. So further, these duplicate placebo samples are analyzed as per standard test procedure of the IR test. Now the obtained spectra of these placebo samples are checked for any kind of interferences at targeted wave numbers. So guys, these were the 3 parameters which are executed as part of analytical method validation for identification test by IR. Out of these 3 parameters, only 1 parameter is required as per ICSQ2R1 guideline, and these 2 parameters are required or executed as part of pharma industry practice. So guys, there are various guidelines available from where you can learn about the analytical method validation, and those are USP Journal Chapter number 1225 and USP Journal Chapter number 1226. Along with this, ICH-Q2R1 guideline is also there. So before we winding up today's video, let me tell you one thing, that we are going to bring series of videos on analytical method validation parameters for all the tests like SA, RS, PSD, water content and residual solvents in upcoming days. Till then, stay tuned to PharmaPill. Bye bye and happy learning.